what's going on? So, me and some of the homies were at my place on Sunday and we had a session making music. And we pretty much started from scratch, we started from the beat, and my homie Hasha, he came with the melodies. I did some writing, put that down, and then, we were sitting back just kind of flowing and jamming and having fun creating. And I wouldn't say that I ran out of steam when I was creating, but there was a moment of time where I was just on my phone and I was just scrolling through my Instagram, and a photo of a girl that I met in Thailand came up. And seeing that photo kind of re-triggered the memories of when I did meet her. And it was at a full moon party in Thailand on one of the islands. And, it inspired me to write these lyrics that went something like, I met you at the full moon, dancing to a cool tune, something, something, something. And, it sounds kind of corny when I say it, but it went well to the beat. And so I ended up writing a whole hook inspired by seeing that photo of her on Instagram. And, I say that to say that you never know when inspiration will resurface. You never know, from memories in your past, when they will come back. And you'll surprise yourself sometimes about, like, I had never really thought about that situation, but, we all go through life and we all have experiences. And yeah, like when you're creating, you really don't know when inspiration will resurface. And when it does emerge, I can give this advice. When it does emerge, tap into the emotion of that moment, of that experience. I had to go back in time in my head and think about when I did meet her. And I was actually pretty drunk that night. And so what I do remember is a little bit blurry, but, go back to that moment and think about the experience. If you are being inspired by a certain moment, when you're writing, when you're painting, when you're coming up with ideas, go back to that moment and think about the emotions, think about the situation, the environment, the conversations. Let that bubble up inside of you and funnel it into your creativity. And that's what I pretty much did. I went back in time in my head, visualized me meeting her dancing in the moonlight on the beach, and that inspired a whole hook. And it was, and the homies saw me go through that process, and I was telling them, oh yeah, I saw this photo of her on Instagram, and then that kind of triggered the lyrics. And right now in my life, like, I don't really go out as much as I used to, as far as like, going clubbing, going to the bars, going to different events, I'm pretty much living my solitude for the most part of the last 6 months. I've just been on my own, sometimes go and get dinner with friends and all that, but I don't really go out as much as I used to. And when I used to go out, that's when I found most of my inspiration, where I found most of my, not motivation, but, when you go out, you have conversations, you meet people, you party, and you see people that get into situations and that could inspire things, and you go through emotions when you leave your house. So I don't really go out as much. So I feel like in the last 6 months, I've really been tapping into the past, past memories, even, of my travels, of childhood, relationships. I've just been tapping into that to funnel it into my creativity, into my writing. So, you don't always have to go out. And I found that in my younger days that I was actually intentionally going out, going to clubs and going to bars and, getting into situationships, I would say, to have inspiration to put into my art. But I've realized that, like I said before, you never know when inspiration will resurface from the past. And, I feel like you can just tap into that. If you're tapping into your creativity and you're in a flow and you trust your creativity and your flow, you can let those emotions and that energy run through you. And when you're in that flow, the subconscious mind is at work, and the subconscious mind is, where I feel there's a lot of the memories and conversations and of the past that can be funneled through to your conscious mind, and then you can put it into your art. So, trust your flow and trust your creativity and trust what comes up. Tap into that energy and tap into that emotion. And yeah, you never really know when inspiration will resurface, and it can be in like the craziest ways sometimes. Things that you really never thought of, you know, conversations that you forgot a long time ago and they resurfaced, and you remembered it, and you're like, yeah, I should put that in. So I would say just trust your creativity and trust the flow, and the more you work at it, the more you can trust your intuition when it comes to your inspiration and where you're pulling from, because you can pull inspiration from so many places. You can pull it from the present, you can pull it from the past, when you resurface those inspirations, or you can pull it even from the future, and think about visions of the future that you want, the lifestyle that you want, the places that you want to travel, thinking into the future. So like the mind is so creative that we can have so many different ways to find inspiration. So I just wanted to talk about that today, and it was an interesting experience. And now that I'm back on Instagram, it's kind of going back into old memories of people, as the years go by. And I just funnel that into my art, really. So yeah, I hope this video was somewhat enlightening. And I'm out here in nature as always, unless I'm at work. So all right, I'm gonna end the video here. Peace out.